Hello, dear friends, and I am so glad you could join me today. Do you ever find yourself looking in the mirror and thinking, putting on my makeup today feels about as exciting as watching paint dry? Well, sometimes we gravitate to the same makeup each day because we just have too many irons in the fire and we feel like a car running on fumes or a light bulb about to burn out. Well, if it's any consolation, I think we've all been there. But there are definitely some really fun ways to break out of this rut so you feel less like a hamster on a wheel and more like a kid in a candy store. So in today's video, I'll share 10 fun ways to get your makeup mojo back, and we'll demonstrate a few of them along the way. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, a huge thanks to you. My name is Elise, and my passion as a makeup artist is celebrating and supporting those of us with mature skin so we can radiate confidence, so we can not only reach our goals, but also achieve an overall sense of well-being. So on this channel, you'll find a wealth of makeup tips, techniques, and product suggestions, along with occasional forays into the worlds of fashion and wellness. But now, let's tackle today's subject. To have fun with makeup again or get out of a makeup rut, it can sometimes be helpful to actually just take some time off from makeup. Or sometimes just picking out a makeup product that you've rarely used, like an eyeshadow palette that has a color story that you don't normally gravitate toward, can make a real difference. In fact, in a recent video, my automatic reflex was to reach for either my e.l.f. I Love You a Latte palette or my Natasha Denona Mini Sculpt palette, which are both all matte neutral palettes. And by the way, isn't it interesting how similar these two palettes are? Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with either of these palettes. In fact, I love both of them, and I'll continue to reach for them often, but I realized that I'd been almost exclusively reaching for one of these palettes for many weeks and was really deep in a rut. So instead, I grabbed a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette that I rarely use, which has a color story that I'm honestly not very comfortable with. It's her Yucca palette. But as I applied several of the colors from that palette, I could actually feel my mood lifting. It was almost as if I was experiencing a ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds. As I continued to work with the colors, I ended up really loving the look, which I definitely had not expected. And I'm now looking forward to reaching for this palette again sometime in the near future to try out some other color combinations. Well, another breakout of the rut option with eyeshadow is to pull out some single eyeshadows that you have in color combinations that you've never before used together. I am truly embarrassed to say that I have two entire magnetic palettes full of shadows from Sydney Grace, which I have rarely used, and I have never used some of them. Now, I absolutely adore the Sydney Grace eyeshadow formula, but somehow these palettes have been tucked away in the back of one of my makeup cabinets and haven't seen the light of day for many months. So today, I've rescued these palettes from the dark cabinet, and I'm not only going to use them, but I'm also going to incorporate another breakout of the rut trick. When I choose the colors from these palettes, I'm going to try eyeshadow palette bingo. And in case you're not familiar with this concept, here's how it works. You give a number to each of the colors in the palette, and then you randomly pick 3 or 4 numbers, and then use these colors in an eyeshadow look. Now, to be honest, this is quite scary, but it's also a lot of fun. I think in the past 5 years of filming videos, I've only done this twice, and I was pretty surprised by how well the looks turned out. But there's always a first time for things to go south. But even if I do end up with an eyeshadow look that's less than gorgeous, it will be a fun challenge. Because I'm working with 3 large palettes, I've printed out pictures of them and numbered each of the colors. Let me show you my very strange chart that I've created. As you saw, there are a total of 78 colors, so I'll pick 4 random numbers between 1 and 78. I'll use a site called random.org to pick the numbers, and here goes. We'll see what we end up with. And here's the site on my phone. All right, first number selected, and it's number 64. The second number is number 17. The third number is 66. And the last number is number 60. This is scary that so many of them ended up in the 60s, but let's take a look at what we picked. Here is 64, this is 17, This is 66, and here is 60. Actually ended up being fairly neutral. Let's actually look at the colors themselves. Here is 17, this is number 60, here's 64, and this is 66. I'll first start with this mid-tone color in the crease. Color is more of a warmish brown color. It's really pretty and it's going on so easily, which all of Sydney Gray's shadows do. I heard a program this morning on the radio that was absolutely fascinating. They were talking about board games, and most of the ones they mentioned I have never ever heard of. But my family and I love board games, and we try and play one together every week, usually on Sunday afternoon. And now I'm going to take this deeper color, which is also more of a reddish brown, and I'm going to apply it on the outer part of my crease and lid. This is quite a bit deeper, and it definitely has more of a red to it. So the games that we end up going back to time and time again are the game Sorry, which is so unpredictable, and even if you're ahead, you can easily lose, and that's such a fun one. Another one is Yahtzee, which is a dice game, which is a lot of fun as well. And I'm now just going to blend some of those colors. And the last time we played Yahtzee, I got 3 Yahtzees. I don't think I'd ever done that before in my life. And then we also like to pull out Clue from time to time. And this Lash shadow is a beautiful shimmer, which I'm going to put on my eyelid. Now, these are colors I may never have picked out, but oddly enough, it kind of works with the top I'm wearing. I never would have thought that would happen. Wow, these shimmers are absolutely stunning. This makes me want to pull out all of these Sydney Gray shadows and keep trying them and playing with them. Now, because I have hooded eyes, I'm going to go back to this lightest color and bring it up a little bit higher above my crease. Otherwise, it's really hard with hooded eyes, at least with hooded eyes as hooded as mine are, to actually see the shadow. And let's do some final blending. And now we have a little bit of a gradient going up from the crease toward the eyebrow, which is exactly what I wanted to have. And the most important with eyeshadow, as you all know, is to make sure there are no harsh edges. So a really fluffy blending brush like this is truly essential. Okay, I think we have our look. I'm going to go off camera and apply some eyeliner and mascara, and I will be right back. Another fun way to break out of an eyeshadow rut is to get some inspiration from a brand you love. So go to their website and recreate an eye look that you see and love. Here's some examples of looks that I think are absolutely gorgeous from the Natasha Denona website. This first one is a look created with the Natasha Denona Retro palette. The next one showcases some of the eyeshadows from her mini Metropolis palette. And here's a stunning look from her Retro Glam palette. And the last one is an example of a look using her mini Xenon palette. Now let's move on to foundation. Ordinarily, to break out of a rut, I just reach into my makeup drawer and randomly pick a foundation, which is something that's really fun to do with any makeup category. But today, I brought all of my foundations down to my filming studio and have placed them on a table off to my left. Now I'm going to reach over there and without looking, pick one of my foundations to apply. All right, here goes. Okay, it's a square bottle. And I just happened to pick one of my very favorite foundation, NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. Shake it really good first, and then let me just dab it on, first in places where I need the most coverage. And then just pat it in with my brush first. I love this foundation for 2 reasons. It is just a nice soft glow, and it's such a good shade match, which, as you know, is not easy to find often. And this is a foundation with a good medium coverage, but I do have a few age spots to touch up. So I was talking earlier about board games, and I would love to know what some of your favorite ones are. We kind of get in a rut with our board games, as well as I get in a rut with my makeup sometimes. So I'd love to know of any new ones that you particularly enjoy and recommend. One that I remember from long ago that we haven't played for quite some time is Pictionary. I always thought that was really fun. Of course, using a new product can always be a fun way to get out of a rut as well. My under eye corrector today is one I've heard really good things about, but have never actually tried. It's the Catrice Under Eye Brightener in the shade Light Rose. So let's give it a try to see how well it works. And by the way, since you have given today's video a try, I hope you'll tap that thumbs up icon to let YouTube know if you're enjoying it. And please also tap the subscribe button on the bottom right side of your screen if you haven't already joined our family here. Thank you. Unfortunately, Ulta no longer carries Catrice, but it is easily available online through Amazon and through the Catrice website. Now the problem is getting this open. It is really screwed on here tightly. Well, unfortunately, it's on there so tight that I cannot budge it, so I'm going to have to run upstairs and get my little gripper pad, and I'll be right back. Thank goodness for those little gripper mats. I love using my Sigma 4D HD Precision brush. It has just a nice tip for getting in here where I really need to do the correcting. And I'm just going to pat it in. Oh, that feels really good and creamy on the skin. I'm going to like this. And by the way, sometime in the coming few weeks, I am going to do an entire video testing out correctors to find one that I feel works the best on mature skin. So stay tuned for that video in the near future. It's one I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And this is one of the concealers I bought specifically for that video. And so far, I'm finding it pretty impressive. Then I'm just going to dot on my Kosas Brightening Concealer over it. And now just a little dab of powder to make sure there's no creasing. For contour, I'm going to try a brand new inexpensive drugstore product from e.l.f. It's their Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour in the shade Light. I've swatched it, but I've never actually applied it. And since it's called both a bronzer and a contour, I'm hoping that it doesn't look too warm or orangey on my cool toned skin. So first, under the cheekbone. Just going to tap it in and then go around the edges with my foundation brush. That is a little bit on the warm side, but I think it works. And let's go ahead and do the technique that helps tighten that jawline just a bit. Tapping rather than brushing really keeps the makeup in place underneath. This is so thin that you can actually apply it directly on the cheek, which normally I wouldn't recommend. I also don't recommend getting it in your hair like I just did. Sometimes those little bitty hairs just get in the way. It's soft enough so it doesn't look obvious or overwhelming. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with that e.l.f. product. To pick out a blush, contour, or lipstick, you can certainly do what we did earlier with foundation and simply reach into your makeup drawer and without looking, pull out a product. But something I love to do with blush is to combine two blush colors that I've never tried together before. I have an M Cosmetics Color Drop Serum Blush in the shade Lilac, which I'll combine with the NARS Afterglow Liquid Blush in the shade Wanderlust. It'll be fun to see what we come out with. I'm going to swatch each of these separately and then mix them together so you can see the color that I come up with. I cannot even remember the last time I used this M Cosmetics blush, and I have no idea why I haven't pulled it out because it's really gorgeous. Wow, these are really close in color. The M Cosmetics is on top. I think it has a little bit more of a pinker tone to it. And the shade Wanderlust from NARS is underneath it. And I'm going to mix all of those together. And I'm just going to dab them on. And you can see these are really sheer. I'm just going to tap them in. And let me do a second application to give a little bit stronger color. That is really pretty mixed together. Now, because these are so light, I have a hunch they will not be very long lasting. So I would actually take my dampened sponge and spray a little bit of setting spray on it and then tap it over this. That can really help the blush stay on a lot longer. One thing I absolutely adore about cream and liquid blushes is that they truly become one with the skin. There is no splotchiness, no emphasis of pores or anything else that we don't want emphasized. And to create just a little bit of glow to my blush look, I'll tap my Say Beauty Cream Pink Glow Blush over it. This is called Pink Glow, but there is not much color to it. So to my mind, it works almost better as just a highlighter. So I'm just going to tap that on top. And let me show you the difference between the side where I didn't apply it and where I did apply it. And here's where I tapped in the Say Beauty product. I think you can see that glow. And this is the side without it. And I think a little highlighter is called for before I apply my lipstick. And to get out of my makeup rut with my highlighter, I've pulled out one of the oldest drugstore highlighters that I have. It's L'Oreal's Lumiglotion in the shade 901, which is Fair Glow. This really is an amazing product, and it comes in several different colors. And you really get a lot of product in this tube. Probably really didn't need it with this additional Pink Glow Say product, but as Iris Apfel used to say, more is more. And with highlighter, I'm basically in agreement with her. I love a good highlight. Okay, now I am truly glowy. It also works beautifully to apply this before you apply your foundation to give a little bit more glow overall to the skin. Next, let's go with lipstick. After applying concealer and lip liner around my lips to prevent my lipstick from migrating, and one coat of a Lawless pink color in Candy Girl, I'm going to apply two very shimmery lipsticks together, which I have never tried together before. They're both from Ciati London, and the shades are Cosmic, which is a shimmer lavender color, and Electra, which is a deep violet. Let me show you all of these colors. This should be a really fun combination. On top is the Lawless Candy Girl lip product, and beneath it are the two Ciati London shades. This is the Candy Girl lipstick with Electra on top of it, and now I'm going to apply the lighter shimmer shade, which is Cosmic. Wow, this is a lot of shimmer, but I do really love the color combination. And here are a few other things that we can try that are surefire ways to rekindle our makeup excitement or pull us out of a makeup rut. First, think about inviting a friend over who also likes makeup and ask her to bring 4 makeup products that she hasn't used in a very long time, and then you bring the same. Then have fun trying them out together. However, one word of caution here, do not use each other's makeup or brushes, since that has been known to result in some serious health issues. And if you're interested in purchasing 1 or 2 new products, head to a department store or drugstore makeup counter, Sephora or Ulta, and find an associate who is roughly close to your age, which I know can sometimes be tricky. And then ask her to share the top 3 or 4 makeup products that she would recommend for mature skin, and then have fun trying them on. Now, usually there's no obligation whatsoever if you go to a department store makeup counter and try a couple of products, but it is a good thing to check ahead, because sometimes, depending on the number of products you try, they do want you to pay a certain amount. So it's always a good thing to check. Is to try a makeup look with one product that's totally out of your comfort zone. For instance, a red lipstick, a colored eyeliner, or a colored mascara or smoky eyes. To try a new makeup technique like halo eyes, or a themed makeup look like all luxury makeup products or all drugstore, or all of your oldest products. To ask your husband, daughter, niece, or friend to pick out a makeup product from each makeup category for you to use. In fact, I had great fun doing this very thing in a video where my husband picked out my makeup. In case you'd enjoy taking a look at that video, I've included a link to it in the pinned comment below, as well as in the description box. And I've also included a link to my weekly newsletter, which I think you would really enjoy. And I'd love to hear your ideas and suggestions for ways to have fun with makeup again, or to get out of a makeup rut, in addition to any thoughts you have on board games that you love. Well, until next time, I wish you good health and happiness, and hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care.